Tropics under glass, the most beautiful greenhouses in the world. To visit a tropical forest, savanna or mountain meadows, you don't have to go on a trip. A few centuries ago, people learned to recreate natural oases in special rooms, flower greenhouses. At first they were built only to be able to enjoy summer fruits and berries in winter, and later they began to be used to collect and preserve rare plant species that were brought from other countries. Whatever the weather outside, eternal summer always reigns under the glass dome. Green oases in the middle of noisy cities allow you to escape from the bustle of the city and breathe in the purest air filled with the aromas of foliage and flowers. We have selected the most beautiful and impressive greenhouses in the world, which are definitely worth seeing even for those who are not into botany. 1. Greenhouses of the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew, London. Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew is the world's largest complex of botanic gardens, greenhouses and greenhouses. The largest collection of living plants is collected on an area of 132 hectares, more than 30,000 species, and the herbarium includes about 7 million specimens. The unique greenhouses of the Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew, have long become world famous. 2. Royal Greenhouses at Laeken, Brussels. Every year in mid-April, the greenhouses of the Royal Palace of Laeken are open to visitors for just 3 weeks. The huge greenhouse complex is not only one of the main attractions of Brussels, but also the pride of all of Belgium. 3. Greenhouses of the Botanical Garden of Moscow State University, Apothecary Garden, Moscow. The Botanical Garden of Moscow University, Apothecary Garden, is the oldest in Russia. It was founded by Peter I in 1706. By order of the Tsar, the beds where medicinal plants were grown for the Gostiny Dvor pharmacy were moved to the northern outskirts of Moscow. Now the garden's collection includes about 5,000 species of flora. The Apothecary Garden complex includes park exhibitions and several greenhouses. 4. Muttert Conservatory, Edmonton. One of the outstanding attractions of the Canadian city of Edmonton is the Muttert Conservatory Botanical Garden. Around its main building there are 4 large glass pyramids, which display plants from different climatic latitudes. The Muttert greenhouses were designed by the famous Canadian architect Peter Hemingway. 5. Greenhouses in the Botanical Garden of Peter the Great, St. Petersburg. The Botanical Garden of Peter the Great in its scale and uniqueness of the collection is only slightly inferior to the famous Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew. The complex, located on Aptekarsky Island in St. Petersburg, traces its history to a vegetable garden where medicinal plants were grown for pharmacies. The first mention of it dates back to 1713. His collection now numbers approximately 80,000 specimens. 6. Eden Project, UK. In March 2001, in the British county of Cornwall, near the town of St. Blaise, on the territory of an abandoned kaolin quarry, a unique greenhouse complex was opened, the Eden Project. The idea of creating a Garden of Eden belonged to music producer Tim Smith, and the project was implemented by architect Nicholas Grimshaw. 7. Enid A. Haupt Conservatory, New York. After visiting Kew Gardens in London, Nathaniel Lord Britton and his wife Elizabeth decided to create a similar botanical garden in New York. The central part of the complex was the Enid A. Haupt greenhouse. It is the largest in the USA and one of the largest in the world. 8. Greenhouse of the Botanical Garden of Curitiba. In 1991, in the Brazilian city of Curitiba, a beautiful landscape park opened on the site of a former landfill. With its elegance and luxury, Jardim Botânico de Curitiba is reminiscent of French royal gardens. All buildings and plantings have clear geometric shapes. 9. Flower Dome at Gardens by the Bay, Singapore. In the center of Singapore, next to Marina Bay, there are unique man-made gardens by the bay. This natural park is famous for its super trees, vertical landscape structures that use solar energy for lighting and collect rainwater. 10. Cloud Forest at Gardens by the Bay, Singapore. The cloud forest greenhouse is smaller in area than the flower dome, only 0.8 hectares, but is furnished in a more original way. Inside, a 42-meter high mountain is recreated, from which a real waterfall falls.